So the first poll of business leaders since the election result reveals concern that the political uncertainty could have a negative impact on the economy. Steph is in the City of London for us all morning to gauge reaction there. Morning.
Good morning to you. Morning, everyone. Yeah, pretty much business as usual here this morning with lots of people heading into it. You can see just behind me there, that building is the Bank of England and some of the famous landmarks from around London. You've got the Gherkin building just poking its head through over there, the Cheese Grater building, all the buildings, lots of different crazy names here in the City of London. But of course, there'll be lots of people heading to work wondering what on earth does all the political uncertainty now mean for our economy, and what can businesses do to try and make sure they can carry on doing what they do best. We've got a couple of guests here we can have a chat to this morning. We've got Catherine from the City of London Corporation and also Carolyn from the CBI representing business. First of all, how do you feel about this? What's your reaction to all of this? Because it's been such a kind of crazy couple of days, hasn't it?
It's been a time that we haven't really been expecting, and as you say, it's creating great uncertainty. And for this sector, that's destabilising and something we need to try to move on from as quickly as we can.
Yeah. Uncertainty is often the thing that businesses say to me is it can be the most damaging thing for them. In what way does it affect them?
Well, just at the moment, the businesses here in the city and in the financial related professional services sector are looking at how they're going to cope with Brexit. That's an existential question for them. What we need to be doing is moving towards a deal as soon as we possibly can, a deal which listens to the needs of this sector, because it's a sector which affects the real economy and which gives us what the country needs to thrive for the future. We're pretty clear, talking to the sector, what that means, which is full two-way access to markets, which would benefit Europe as well as it benefits us. Access to the best people for the best jobs, and a transitional period so we can move through this smoothly. Now, I'm hoping that, having seen that the country is divided over the path that we were taking, Parliament will take the opportunity to look carefully at what the sector needs, because as I say, it does affect ordinary people and the real economy.
Yeah, and Carolyn, you and I have talked lots over the last year about all of the different uncertainty from Brexit and everything else going on. Your organisation represents thousands of businesses. What's your worry about this?
Yes, well, first of all, good morning, Steph. I mean, yes, uncertainty has gone right up the Richter scale, and that does matter. It matters for all of us because it makes companies put the pause button on investment, and investment today is jobs in the future. So it really matters. And what we think the opportunity now is to change the mindset. So put the economy right back at the top of the agenda, talk about all the things that matter to jobs and growth, and bring business in as participants, not just as observers in the whole thing.
Do you feel like businesses weren't talked to enough in the run-up to the election then by politicians?
Well, there was some really good engagement. For example, with the business secretary, there was a lot of good discussion. But I think the opportunity now is to take it to a different level. You know, we are all in this together. And I think business has a lot to contribute. Frankly, you know, it will be business success that creates the living standards of the future. So, you know, on Brexit, let's get the focus right up there on single market access, half our trade. So many jobs are linked to that. And back at home, it's about action on homes, on digital, on road and rail, the things that matter to all of us, will make it easier to do business. So it is an opportunity, I think, to have a bit of a mindset change and to get things going.
Yeah, and as we always talk about, businesses are used to dealing with uncertainty, so they're pretty good in these types of circumstances.
They are. They can really, I think, be a great force for good in all of this. You know, bring stability, bring investment, bring, you know, they're optimistic about all of this, but they do need some support from government around the infrastructure, around the right deal on Brexit. And if we can get some kind of movement on those things, I think business can be, you know, a great partner in all of this and do some very good things.
Excellent. Well, good to hear your optimism. I know we'll be talking to you again a little bit later on, but thank you very much for your time this morning. As I say, I'm going to be here throughout the morning, but first,
The first poll of business leaders since the election result has revealed there's real concern that the political uncertainty could be having a negative impact on the economy.
As well as delaying the crucial Brexit negotiations, perhaps. Steph is in the heart of the City of London for us this morning, where it's looking busy, isn't it? Morning, Steph.
Good morning to you, morning everyone. Yeah, business as usual here. You can just see I'm in front of the Bank of England and also lots of other famous London landmarks in the heart of the City of London, the financial district, where lots of people are trying to work out, and will be for the foreseeable, what does all this political uncertainty mean for them? What does it mean for businesses and the economy? And as you say, there's been that poll out from the Institute of Directors talking to 700 businesses across the country to ask them how they feel about it. And a lot of them saying, the majority, around 65%, that they think it's going to have a negative impact on the economy. Well, we've got Justin Urquhart-Stewart with us this morning. There's lots of different things to look at when you're assessing what impact this could have. One of them being the currency markets, and that reacted, of course, straight away when the result came out on Friday.
It did move. We saw a 2-cent move, but put that in comparison with last year after Brexit. We saw it go from 150 down to 120. That was a huge drop. So in comparison, this is relatively small, and it's sort of recovered again. But those two elements you were talking about in terms of business confidence, really very important indeed, because money needs to be invested in the economy. If you're going to hold it back, then it's actually going to be more difficult.
Yeah, and also I'm going to bring in Carolyn Fairburn here as well from the CBI, because you represent businesses, there's hundreds of thousands you're talking to all the time. How do they feel about it now? Are they worried?
Well, yes, uncertainty has gone up the Richter scale since last week. And it really matters because it affects investment, which is jobs for the future. So they are looking for the economy to go right back centre stage, and for business to be participants and not just spectators in what we're seeing.
And when we talk about uncertainty, there is always uncertainty. You and I have talked about this for over a year now, since Brexit. What can businesses do about it? Because there's a sense of they still have to get on with life, don't they? There's still all these guys and girls going to work, and they've got to crack on with it.
So businesses do, and they're really good at it. And that's one of the reasons that we've seen real resilience, and investment has been continuing. But I think when uncertainty reaches such a level, then you get pause buttons beginning to be pressed. And we just don't want to see that. So it's time for, I think, a bit of a reset, a bit of a mindset change, to listen really well to what businesses need, because it matters to all of us. It's what pays for the health service, it's what pays for salaries. So it's a chance, I think, to put some of these questions about digital infrastructure, about how we're going to build the homes, how we're going to get rail services better, and of course get the Brexit negotiations really well on track, right at the centre of the conversations we're all having every day.
So if you were the Prime Minister now, what would you be doing for business?
Oh, well, I'd be out there right away saying how important firms are and a successful economy is to all of us in terms of quality of life, London and the regions everywhere, getting the Brexit negotiations onto a really positive track so we can see the possible outcome on really good access to the single market. And then I think it's all about action. Action on the things that really matter, like skills, like housing, like digital, really getting on with things. That's what would give, I think, business more confidence with, as I say, business as participants right in there, helping to solve the problems. They're up for that with government, not just observers on the sidelines.
And also, it's obviously not just about how businesses feel, but it's the real impact of things like the currency market. So Justin was just talking there about, we saw a fall in the value of the pound. And just explain the impact of that, because it's good and bad for business, isn't it?
It really depends on what kind of business you are. And so if you're an exporter that manufactures here, actually your order books are looking great, and we are seeing manufacturing on the march. It's fantastic. But if you're an importer, that's actually quite tough, and you're seeing inflation beginning to come through. So again, that's another level of uncertainty where, government does have a role to play there in just bringing stability and predictability where possible to help give businesses the confidence to carry on investing and creating jobs.
And we are still an economy that's largely driven by consumer spending,
Yes.
so it's about how we feel as people out there spending as well, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot in that, and we have seen consumers doing what they do best. They've carried on shopping, and that is fantastic. But we need to keep the confidence going. So again, the more that can be done to create a business environment that is really kind of encouraging our companies, encouraging consumers to feel confident, then these are all the things that I think will make a real difference in this next stage.
Yeah. Carolyn, thank you very much. Lovely to see you as ever. But that's it for the businesses here. We're going to be here. Actually, it's not it. I don't know why I said that. We're back in an hour, aren't we? So there you go. It's so mad here this morning and so busy. I don't even know what time it is, but there you go. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. So more from us a bit later on.
It's 7:45 exactly, Steph. Your own personal
Thank
time
you.
check.
I thought it was 8:45.
It's
sorry.
all right. We've had very little sleep. It's all right.